Hey, this is Derek Tye, and welcome back to another episode of the Kingdom Business Breakthrough Podcast. Today, I'm so excited to talk to you about something I'm really passionate about, and it is called Field of Favor and Concentric Circles. So, you might be asking, what is Field of Favor and what the heck are concentric circles? So, we're going to start today by kind of going through a couple basic principles. So, first of all, this kingdom entrepreneurship stuff is so important to me. It's so exciting. I get to sit down with entrepreneurs almost every day and share my heart with them. My heart is that God would reveal to us what our true vision is, what is our true purpose, and we can actually make plans based around what is our vision and our purpose. So, starting with God giving us a vision and then the purpose of the vision and what specifically we need to do, will create goals, which will then create a plan or even a to-do list for the day. And that's not for today's episode. Today's episode we're going to talk about is, okay, what type of field should I be in? Am I in the right field? How do I know if I'm in the right field? So the ancient Hebrew wisdom basically says that, you fall in love with what you do. You don't go do what you love. And this is a big kind of key difference for most speakers and teachers out there. On the internet, you're going to hear a lot of people say things like, if you just follow your dreams and follow your passions, then you're going to never have to work a day in your life. You might even hear that on a high school commencement speech. Unfortunately, that's probably not true for most people. You can't just go out and fall in love with something. Let's say I decide I love playing guitar. Well, I'm not really good at playing guitar, but let's just say I am. Let's say I'm even halfway decent. I go out there and I say, hey, I'm going to make a living playing guitar. So I hit some bars, I hit some street corners. People pay me a few bucks here and there. It's probably not going to be enough for me to support my family of 5 kids and my long-term goals of how I want to build my life, right? So instead, I might decide just to pick that up as a hobby on the side, maybe even, learn to play in my church band or something like that. But I'm not going to make my sole income based upon my passion for guitar, right? So the example I would also give you is going to work. When I was 15 years old, I bought my first car. I was really motivated. And to get my money to buy my first car, I had to work. So I had asked my sister, who had previously worked at this fast food restaurant, if she could help me get a job. And so through, at the time, I was making $4.25 an hour. I learned how to mop some floors. I learned how to clean tables, clean some trays, wash dishes, take out the garbage. But guess what I did? I became of value to the manager. And the more and more I worked there, she realized, hey, this kid could actually make me more money if I gave him more responsibility. So because I added value to her life as a 15-year-old, and then 16, she gave me a raise and had me do other work, like being a cook. Well, once I proved myself that I could do the other jobs and be a cook, she said, hey, I could make more money from this kid because he's reliable, because he's polite to clients, because, he's showing up to work and with a smile on his face. Guess what? She gave me even more responsibility. So then I became the store night manager, and I was able to lock up the restaurant and count the cash drawer. But all by the time I was 18 years old, I had learned real responsibility, and I was of value for somebody else. So if my true passion in life at the time, which was cars as a 15 to 18-year-old boy, unfortunately, that probably would not have made me as much money, and I couldn't have been of value to other people. And I did try. My brother and I started this auto detailing business where we would, go and pick people's cars up, and I can't believe they trusted us with some of these cars when I look back at it. But we would pick up these cars, we would detail them out, and after detailing 20 or 30 of these cars, I realized, yes, I love cars, but I didn't really like cleaning out other people's boogers and stuff out of the side. It was just gross, right? Like whatever everyone drops out of their car, their fast food, the slime that kids somehow come up with. Like if you guys have kids and they've spilled a Happy Meal in the back of your car a couple times, there's some pretty gross stuff that people drop in their cars. So I realized that, that probably wasn't my field of favor. I was passionate about cars, but I'm not going to necessarily make a living doing that, right? So getting back to my fast food example, I decided, what's something else I could do to be of value and make even more money? Well, there was a restaurant that just opened down the street and they were hiring people. So I took my $7 an hour I was making and I traded it up to $8.50 an hour when I was able to go work at this new restaurant, because they needed employees and they wanted people that had experience. So I was able to kind of top grade my job at that point. Well, what happened next was I got more responsibility there. I started as a host. They got, this kid's reliable, he smiles, that's great, and he's good with people. Let's give him some more responsibility. They let me serve tables. They let me be a bar back in the back. They let me expedite food orders coming out of the kitchen. They let me basically do all the front of the house jobs. And they said, you know what, this kid's valuable to us. How about if we made him a night manager? So before I was even 21 years old, I was managing a front house of up to 50 employees at a restaurant, and I wasn't even old enough to serve alcohol. And that's a true story. But the reason I mention this to you is it wasn't my passion to be a restaurateur. I never wanted to open up a restaurant. My field of favor, though, at the time was service. Like, I just had to be of service to people, all right? So some of you guys might be watching this video online or even listening to this podcast and thinking, hey, Derek, you know what? I'm not passionate about what I'm doing. Well, are you passionate about your long-term goals? Has God given you a vision for something? Well, most of us even say yes. One of the visions God gave me years ago was to start a family, to be a great husband. So you also have certain callings in your life. I feel like I've got several callings. One of my callings is to be a great employer. I want to be a great husband. I want to be a great dad. I want to be a great community supporter, and I want to be a great citizen in my country. So how do I do that? How do I be a great son to my mom? How do I be a great brother to my brother? Like, how do you do those things every day? Well, you have to be part of your vision and part of your calling, right? So fast forward. This show is for entrepreneurs. So Derek, get on with it, man. What's going on? How do I be a kingdom entrepreneur and be in my field of favor? Well, here's my point. So if you fall in love with serving people and you find, which is step one, you have to just find where people need you, be of value. Number two, you got to be willing to make sure that they're actually willing to pay you for that, right? So in my world, like, I became a real estate agent, which is a self-employed entrepreneurial endeavor. I'm a like sole proprietor, independent contractor, whatever you want to call it in the state you're in. So the point, though, is that I have to serve people. If I don't serve, first of all, I got to go find the business. I got to find people that are willing to be served. Number two, I got to make sure they're actually willing to pay me for that service. And number three, I got to deliver on that. And I got to do it at such a high level that I can earn money. Now, here's the kind of the magic third and fourth step, depending on how you're counting these. The magic step is what we call concentric circles. And this is a concept God gave me years ago. And here's what the concentric circles concept says. If I can find a field of favor that I'm really good at, and I can fall in love with serving people in that field of favor. So in me, it's the real estate. So I got a real estate sales. I'm really good at selling real estate. What's my next concentric circle? Well, for me, it was to start a real estate team. I was generating more leads for people that wanted to buy and sell homes than I could physically run around. So I hired my wife. I hired a friend. We brought in other real estate agents and said, listen, we've got all these people that want to buy and sell homes. Would you help? So I was able to split commissions with those agents. So instead of me trying to do it all, I was able to get half of what they were doing. Those leads weren't costing me much money, in some cases, $5, and that sale could constitute a sale of $5,000. It was a great return on investment. So my field of favor of real estate, my first concentric circle was just to leverage out my time and resources through our sales team. The next concentric circle was, hey, as I'm recruiting other agents and building my network, if I put them into a company that rewards me for that behavior, I will make more profit. I will make more residual income. So I found a company that would reward me for bringing in more agents into the company. So I could, even if they weren't on my team anymore, I could still make a little bit of residual income for the rest of my life and the rest of the time they were there. Makes sense, right? The third concentric circle was, hey, you know what? What if I take some of that money and I invest it into something that I know and love, which is real estate? Whoa, this is really surprising, right? So I bought an investment property with my wife, and we didn't just buy an investment property to flip it. I actually bought it as a short-term investment rental, so we could actually turn money every month out of it and make cash flow. that one started going really well. So another concentric circle off of my field of favor of real estate was to buy a second investment property. See where this is going? Now we plan on buying 3 more. We have 5 kids, and we thought, hey, how wouldn't it be cool if we had 5 rental properties, 5 kids? That'd be awesome. So I took my field of favor of real estate, expanded into real estate sales team, profit share from the company I was working with, and then investment property number 1, investment property 2. So these circles are building around my circle. Then I was invited to be a part owner of a franchise of the company that I was working with. So I went in with 3 other investors, and we actually put down money and time, and we built our own sales office. So in addition to the team and the other profit share and the rental properties, I now get income coming in from this real estate sales company, which I do not have to manage day to day. It's residual income. It's mailbox money. So then another circle presented itself. Wow, Derek, you've been doing this for 15 years. You sold 1,350 homes, $300 million in sales volume. People wanted to know, how did you do that? Well, they would come in and ask me, how did you do that? So I decided, what if I became a real estate coach? I had already been coaching people for years. I'd also been doing sales training and teaching, and then traveling around the country, actually doing real estate sales training. So that's another source of income I could add to this to this concentric circles model. Then there's another one, podcasting, and then writing a book. So guys, let me tell you right now, this concept works. Find the field of favor first, number 1. Number 2, find something that is of value to other people that they're willing to pay you for. 3, start building subsequent streams of income around that field of favor. So the example that I think of a lot is Gary Vaynerchuk. You know, he was a kid, like when YouTube started. He didn't say, hey, my passion is I'm going to be a YouTube star. No, that's not what happened. He didn't say, I want to be a social media star. Nope. What he did is he learned about social media and he became passionate about it. But what he decided to do was go to work for his dad in his dad's wine shop. His dad was selling wine in a store traditionally. And he said, what if I could take what my dad's doing and I could enhance it with what I love to do? So he went into his field of favor, his family field of favor was winemaking, or not winemaking, but wine selling, distributing in a store. So he started doing these wine tasting things, and he started going in front of the camera and spitting out the wine saying, ew, that's gross, and all these kinds of things. He tasted like 300 variations of dirt, so he knew all these things, and he did it in front of the camera. He built an audience. He got millions of followers and people that would buy whatever he said. He'd say, hey, this is a crappy box of wine, don't buy it. Or this is a fancy bottle, I love it, and it's relatively inexpensive. This is a great deal for $20. People would buy him by the cases because they trusted him. He built a relationship. So in his story, his field of favor is probably now in social media. Well, it's kind of moved in hybrid, kind of moved away from his wine shop. Now he probably still loves wine. He probably still drinks wine, but that might now be his like passion thing on the side. And now his living is really in social media and YouTube, right? And writing books. So think about his field of favor. It went from, hey, I'm going to do something really great for someone else, help them out. And now, wow, I'm really good at this. Now I'm going to start building businesses around that, right? Does that make sense? So guys, that's what field of favor is. And that's what concentric circles are. We talk a little bit about this in the book that I've got coming out here at the end of August, or you might be listening to this and it's already out. But basically, it's through 100X Publishing. Books coming soon. You can find the book on my website, www.kingdombusinessbreakthrough.com. kingdombusinessbreakthrough.com. You can also learn more about our coaching programs on there, which I'm not pushing today. And what I am going to tell you is, guys, this is something I'm really passionate about. I want Christian entrepreneurs to succeed and become kingdom entrepreneurs. I want you to catch a unique vision from God. I want you to be passionate about what you're doing. I want you to do things like I'm doing here. I just love helping people. I really do. And I know that this is going to help somebody that's watching this right now. So do me 2 favors. If you would, consider, please, subscribing to this podcast. And would you also do one more favor for me? Would you share this with at least one person just to say, listen, this is a podcast I'm listening to. This guy's a crazy entrepreneur. He's passionate about business and he's a kingdom guy. He's a Christian dude. If you would share that, subscribe and share, if you would consider doing that for me, I would really appreciate it. So today I'm going to sign off. I really appreciate you listening and watching, and let's stay in touch for the future. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.